In late 2008, everything Casey Gaunt knew about his life, the world he had grown to make sense of, disintegrated instantly.
When the medical examiner came to our house, I knew instantly, the moment those words were out of their mouths, that our road that we had planned, spent all this time looking down, was gone.
Just as quickly, a new road emerged.
It was there, but I couldn't see very far down it. I couldn't see 2 feet.
But just beyond eyeshot on this new path was nothing short of supernatural. On August 8, 2008, Casey's 24-year-old son Jimmy was walking home from a party in San Diego. He had had too much to drink and knew better than to try and drive. He was struck and killed that night on the side of the road.
Everybody in August of 2008 knew what happened.
What friends and colleagues didn't know was that his son's death was not the first tragic loss in his family.
In 1970, my father in Chicago took his life. He shot himself in his office.
While battling to make sense of the painful hand in life he was dealt just months after his son passed and nearly 40 years after the death of his father, Grover, the phone rang. The voice on the other end was a woman from tiny Colwood, West Virginia, a place where Casey worked on his father's construction site the summer after high school, a place he had all but forgotten.
She's calling me 40 years later and says she's got something that I left there, a letter. A letter from my father. My father had written to me in June of 1968. He probably wrote it a couple weeks after I had gone to Colwood, West Virginia to work that summer.
It was 2 years before his father died. He was 18 years old.
One of the things that really struck me about the letter was how he was speaking to me as an adult, as a man. He mentioned a depression in his youth. I knew he was in World War II, but he mentioned his time in the infantry and how that deeply affected his life.
It was a side of his father he had never seen, a voice he had never heard.
And he spoke to me of his insecurity. He said, I don't think of myself as successful. Then he began to give me advice and fatherly advice. And he said, I don't expect you to take it or follow it. You're a man. You have enormous gifts and talents. And you can put those to work for yourself. You can be anything you want to be. You just have to work hard.
Suddenly, distant words started to speak to Casey in real time.
He said, I will be there anytime you need me. I will be there because I care more than you'll ever know. My son.
"40 years late, yet right on time."
It was so clear to me that he had come through. He was there through this letter that I had never gotten before. And he had shown up like he promised he would. He had shown up for me when I needed him the most. Without question, when I was reading the letter in our kitchen, here in our house, I looked around because I felt he was there. I knew he was there. He was there with me. And he was telling me things that he knew I needed to know about him.
Casey believes now his father was not the only one with him in that room. After the letter, he started going through his father's scrapbooks from the war. There were letters Grover wrote to his wife, Casey's mom, and his parents.
Things I'd never looked at, but things my son looked at 6 months before he died.
The connection between Casey, his father, and his son started to reveal itself. The extraordinary series of events compelled Casey to start writing it down, pouring out everything that had happened, everything he felt.
I knew it was a gift. I knew that this letter and this story was a gift that was meant to help me, to help our family.
A sound response started to resonate from people who read.
Casey, your father and your son came through to you. They are communicating with you.
Casey's new road was now defined.
All of us spend a lot of time each day mapping out our life. It's like a roadmap. We have all these goals, these agendas, business plans, life plans. Where are we going to be 5 years from now? What are we going to do 10 years from now? Sometimes things get in the way. Sometimes they're little boulders, but sometimes they're bigger than that. Sometimes the entire road blows up. The road goes away. And that's what happened to us.
But through the sea of darkness, one light peered through.
Almost, from the minute our son left us, I knew it was important to talk about this. I knew it was important to share. We all suffer loss, and we're all going to suffer more loss. People want to talk about it. They need to talk about it.
The more Casey shared, the more he opened up, the more he reached out, more was revealed to him. People layered deep in Casey's past started to rise to the surface.
They started coming out of the blue.
One even more uncanny than the next.
We began to experience and witness connections.
The remarkable connections continued. People who knew Jimmy but didn't know he had passed. People who knew Grover but didn't know about the letter.
It wasn't 6 degrees of separation, it was like 1 degree of separation. And this kind of stuff just keeps happening. And I just keep writing it down.
And that was the beginning of Write Me Something Beautiful.
It's like a journal of this excursion I've been on since August of 2008.
The website is a living, breathing tribute to Jimmy.
He was an amazing kid. He was only 24 when he left us, but he had done so much. I mean, he had written so much. He had written 7 plays, 6 screenplays, one of which is still in the works of perhaps becoming a movie. I mean, the kid was unbelievably talented. The number of people that he met and the lives that he touched, he is a very strong spirit. And that spirit continues to surround us.
Write Me Something Beautiful is not just for Casey and his family to grieve.
It's connected me with complete strangers, people that have just been attracted to the site because they've suffered a loss, or they know somebody who has suffered a loss and they've looked at some of these stories. They somehow help them. I don't have any answers. All I have is our experiences and what has been shared with us and shown to us.
Now a grandfather, Casey has entered a new phase of his life, one his father never got to see, a phase his son will never get the chance to see. It is at this point he has found his true voice and made peace with the new road he was destined to pave.
We're on a road, we didn't choose it, but if we're gonna run down it, let's run down it. Let's chase this thing as far as we can go. And maybe that'll help others who unfortunately have to get on this road themselves.
It's a road Casey can see clearly down now.
There's something that happens next, and there is an energy, there's a spirit, there's something going on that continues to reach through and connect, with those of us here. They've convinced me that this isn't it. When we die, this isn't it.